And welcome to our inaugural Zoomcast of Clarity Calls. My name is Sam Horn, and this is the second birthday of this book right here. And Arthur Rubinstein said, I have found if you love life, life will love you back. Well, I love that we are celebrating the second birthday of Someday with this Clarity Calls tonight. So I'm going to follow Carrie Fisher's advice. She said, instant gratification takes too long. I agree. So here's a quick preview of what we'll be doing on our Zoomcast, and then we're going to jump right into it. 12 minutes for me. We're going to talk about how we can craft a mission statement that gives a real clear purpose to our life. We're going to talk about how to craft some North Star questions so we can make congruent decisions that keep us on purpose. And then we'll be talking about how we can turn a someday into today so we're leading a more purposeful life now and not later. So 12 minutes for me, and then 12 minutes for our guest tonight. And that is Broadway legend Christine from Phantom of the Opera, also known as Sandra Joseph. Sandra is going to be sharing how she got crystal clear when she was young that she wanted to be on Broadway and how she persevered through some roller coaster ups and downs to make that happen, and how she's reinvented herself and has a new mission and purpose since she moved on from that role. Then our third act of our third act play is we have three guests with 3-minute clarity stories. I can't wait to introduce you to them and to hear how they got crystal clear about something that was important to them, how they took responsibility for doing it now and not later. And then we wrap up with an action plan. We're going to get out our calendars. We're going to ask you to put something on your calendar in the next few months that would put the light on in your eyes. So we have what's called ikigai. Ikigai is a Japanese term that means a reason to wake up in the morning, something to look forward to. And that's how we can turn a someday into today, is to put something on the calendar. So that's a preview. Boom, let's jump into it. It's one of my favorite quotes in the Someday book is from Agatha Christie. And she says this, is there ever any particular spot where one can put one's finger and say, it all began that day at such a time and such a place with such an incident? Well, I have a day I can put my finger where I got clear about the importance of having a clear purpose. I'll always be grateful to my college philosophy professor. And on our very first day of class, he said, we're going to study Plato and Aristotle and Socrates, but first, you're going to craft your philosophy. And he said it needs to be 50 words or less. And if you do this right, it is going to help set up the rest of your life because you will always have this North Star that can help you lead a purposeful life. I spent a week drafting that and crafting it. I came up with something and I have not changed a word since. Here's my mission statement. My purpose is to make a positive difference for as many people as possible while maintaining a happy, healthy, grateful lifestyle with friends and family. So here's my question. Do you have a one-sentence mission statement that serves as your North Star? I believe a good mission statement kind of has like two parts. It's got the first part, which is some kind of tangible achievement, something we want to contribute, something we want to be known for. So it's kind of external. It's an accomplishment or achievement or how we want to show up in the world. Then we switched into the second half of a mission statement, which is more about our quality of life. While we're doing this, while we're building this or developing this or contributing this, what kind of relationships do we have? What kind of health do we have? What kind of quality of life do we have? And if you can distill that into one sentence and then post it where it's in sight, in mind, I really think it can help us navigate through our days. As Annie Dillard said, how we spend our days is, of course, how we spend our life. And a crystal clear 50-word or less mission statement can have us spend our days and our life in a way that's congruent with our values and priorities. Now, what's this about North Star questions? Well, if you read some of my posts, you've already heard the George Walther story. George is a global adventure travel speaker. He's lived in 5 continents. He's traveled to 123 countries. And last month, he visited St. Augustine in Florida, and he really fell in love with the place to the point where he found a house and he's thinking about buying it and renovating it. And he goes online and he says, please tell me terrible things about Florida, humidity, hurricanes, alligators. And he got a lot of feedback. However, it was this North Star question that helped him get clarity about whether he was going to trade in his footloose, fancy-free lifestyle for being more of a homebody. And do you know what his North Star question was? Would this move make my life more wonderful? And he thought, no, this is a short-term infatuation. It would not make my life more wonderful. I would end up dealing with contractors and renters and living in a very hot place and be away from my daughter. So now, do you have a North Star question? Now I'm going to share a North Star question for me. And then as long as we have time, I'm going to share one more little story about another North Star question that can help us get crystal clear when we're at a crossroads and we want to make a decision that's in alignment with our mission and purpose and values. When I was getting ready to go to college, I had a lot of people telling me I should be a doctor or a lawyer to use my mind. I didn't want to be a doctor or lawyer. I wanted to study recreation administration. I had grown up as an athlete. I was going to run recreation departments. And I was getting a lot of people who were telling me that that was a slacker career and that, was I going to study underwater basket weaving or something, and that I should challenge myself. I will always be grateful to my dad because he said, when you are at a crossroads and you have to make up your mind and you can't decide what to do, take the bolder of the options. My sons went off to Virginia Tech and I had the talk with them. And I tried to distill everything I'd learned into a couple pieces of advice. And one was, when we're in the middle of a special moment, to imprint it. Charles Bukowski said that time races by like the wild horses over the hills. So if we're in the middle of a special moment, like right now, celebrating somebody's 2nd birthday with you and doing something I love, imprint it, look around, receive it, revel in it, and then we can revisit it and relive it in our mind anytime we want to. Now, Kendra, I think we probably have about 3 minutes left of my part before we bring up Sandra. So here's another story about a North Star question that can help us make a decision in the moment that will serve us in the long term. I was doing a workshop in Waikiki, and we had just filled out the happiness box from the Someday book. And in this exercise, you can get crystal clear about something you want to do, and for some reason you're not doing. You're postponing it, putting it off, assuming that we can do it later. Well, as the Buddha said, the thing is, we think we have time. As Rene Ricard said, tomorrow is another day, but so is yesterday. And Paulo Coelho says that one day we're going to wake up and there won't be any time left to do the things we've always wanted to do. So I asked the group, what is something you've always wanted to do? And a woman put up her hand and said, I want to be more adventurous. And I said, well, what's an example? And she said, well, here's an example. I'm in a hotel in Waikiki. The beach and the ocean is right there, and I haven't even stepped a foot in that ocean. And I said, why not? And she said, I saw Jaws when I was a kid. Big mistake. I said, okay, do you want to hack that fear? Do you want to turn that someday I'll be more adventurous into a today? She said, yeah. I said, okay, when are you leaving Hawaii? She said, in 2 days. I said, okay, tomorrow is the day. I said, get out your calendar right now and put 6 a.m. in your calendar. She said, 6 a.m., why? I said, because the sun comes up over Diamond Head at 6:30. And you are going to be dipping your toe into the ocean when that sun comes up. And she said, why? I said, because changes are more meaningful when they're metaphorical. And if you step into a more adventurous lifestyle, just as that sun comes up, you will always imprint and remember that moment. I said, now the North Star question. I said, tomorrow morning, when that 6 a.m. alarm goes off, you're going to want to turn over, pull your pillow and your covers over your head and go back to sleep. Ask yourself this North Star question. What will matter a year from now? Will it matter that you got an extra hour of sleep? Or will it matter that you finally acted on something that you wanted to do all of your life and that you have a memory of a lifetime of doing something that puts the light on in your eyes? And she said, Sam, I agree with that in theory. I'm still afraid. I said, okay, hack the fear. Is that, don't just walk into the ocean. I said, do you know about the natatorium that's down as you face the ocean, kind of at the left of Waikiki by Sans Souci Beach and the natatorium? And she said, yeah, I think so. I said, there's an ocean pool there that's only 3 foot deep. It's like it's got a seawall around it and it's only a 3-foot opening. So the surf can't get in and neither can the sharks. So you'll be perfectly safe there. I said, now one more way to hold yourself accountable for turning a someday into a today. And that is, who's your accountability buddy? Who is someone you're going to take a picture of you doing this and send it to that person so they can celebrate it with you? You can share it with someone. She said, you. I said, okay. And guess who got a picture from a smiling Beth at the airport 2 days later, who set her alarm, who hacked the fear, who stepped into the ocean at that metaphorical, meaningful moment, and who finally turned something she'd wanted to do into a today, into someday? Beth. Hopefully, after you hear some of these wonderful stories, you will have that someday that just lights you up thinking about it. And then we'll talk about how to hold yourself accountable so you actually do it. And when you look back at 2021, it'll be a good year. And now I get to introduce Sandra Joseph. Have you ever been by someone who was so excited by what they were experiencing? They were like jumping out of their chair. I have. We're going to put Sandra's website up on our Facebook page so that you can look more into her background and her books and her speaking and entertaining and so forth. However, I had asked Sandra Joseph to speak for TLC, Transformational Leadership Council. I'm sitting next to Jack Canfield. When Sandra is singing from Phantom of the Opera, he's like a little kid. He's like jumping up and down out of his seat because she's like, 20 feet away. It was like we were in front row seat in Broadway. That's what you get to experience right now. Please help me welcome Broadway legend Christine for 10 years in Phantom of the Opera, Sandra Joseph, as she shares her Clarity story.
Hi, Sam. Hi, everyone. Thank you for having me, and happy second birthday to your beautiful, beautiful Someday book. I am so honored, really, to be able to share a little bit of what this conversation has brought up for me. Sam, you've shared so much already. I love your father's advice, take the bolder choice. I was the least likely person you would ever meet to become a Broadway performer. I was a shy and insecure girl. And really, it was my dad who encouraged me to take the bolder path and go to New York and pursue this crazy, wild dream because I loved it. I loved singing and acting from the time I was very small. And I thought that getting to Broadway would somehow change me and make me a different version of myself. I don't know. That it would solve all of my problems and insecurities and they would go away. Well, we find out pretty quickly, don't you? Wherever you go, there you are. And I spent 10 years playing Christine on Broadway, and I'm so grateful. It was incredibly rewarding and thrilling. But at the end of that time, I faced a little bit of a crisis, wondering what is it that I'm going to do next? And I want to share a story about the question of purpose and what it pointed me to. I was at a conference, and the speaker on the stage was talking to us about purpose, and he gave us the assignment to do our own version of I think, therefore I am. And so we had to fill in the blank. I blank, therefore I am. And I was really kind of throwing this around in my mind. What's my answer to that? Now, the speaker had seen me give my keynote, and I sing during my keynote, and he sort of knew what I was doing. And he came over to me and he's like, oh, well, it's easy for you. It's going to have something to do with singing. And I immediately thought, no, that's not my purpose. And I'll tell you how I know that that is not my purpose. A year after I left Phantom, when I was still questioning what I was going to do next, I had a really scary diagnosis. I found out that I had a tumor on my brainstem, which threatened to take away my ability to sing because of its precarious location. If I were to have radiation, which would be the recommended treatment, I would never sing again. So if my purpose was about singing, what happens when I no longer am able to do that? During the 2 weeks that I had to wait for the tumor review board to look at my case and make their recommendation, I was sitting with the question, would I lose my ability to sing pretty shortly thereafter? And who would I be without this? And I got very clear in that moment. I wasn't just thinking about the songs I would never get to sing and the roles I would never get to play. I was thinking about my life. I was thinking about, what will this mean? I could lose more than my voice. I could lose my life. And someday there won't be any more time. And all I could think about in that moment was the people I love and how much it mattered to me to communicate the love in my heart to the people I love. That's all that I could think about. So when I was standing across from that lovely gentleman who said, your purpose is going to have something to do with singing, I suddenly realized, oh, no, but I know what I want to write down. I love, therefore I am. If I'm connected to my heart and I'm present and I'm sharing the love that I feel with the people that matter to me, then I know I'm in the center of what is meaningful and alive for me. And thankfully, the tumor review board came back and said, we're just going to watch and wait. And I'm so grateful that many years later now, the little guy's just been hanging out in there. It's not causing me any trouble. And I was committed from then on to use the voice I'm still blessed to have in service of what brings me alive and what I hope will help others connect to their heart as well. I realized, my love of singing was what drove me to get to Broadway, but it was not really about getting to Broadway, because even when I was there, the part of it that was the most rewarding was the love of doing it, was the aliveness that it brought about, the way it connected me to my heart, and the way it connected audiences to their hearts. And so I was thinking about this last night and what I wanted to share with you, and this song came to mind. I thought, if I'm going to talk about being connected to my heart and sharing what's in it with others, a song popped into my head, and I would like to share this song with you now because it gives me an opportunity to actually walk my talk in this very moment with you. So this is a song by a composer that I love named David Friedman, and I hope it opens your heart. Here we are, you and I at last, in the right place, at the right time. Every dream I've dreamed has come to pass, 'cause you're right here, isn't it fine? I can't believe the years of holding back are through, and I can finally share what's in my heart with you. Listen, listen, listen to my heart, listen to it sing, listen to my voice, it wants to tell you everything. There's so much to say, I don't know where to start, but if you want to know the love I'm feeling, listen to my heart. All my life, I've been on a road, going one way toward one dream. The road would wind, and down it I would go, always searching, never finding. But even in my darkest hour, I always knew that someday, somehow, the road would lead to you. And words can't express how my heart is filled with happiness. Listen to it, listen to my heart, listen to it sing, listen to my voice, it wants to tell you everything. Listen to my song, listen to it soar. I've waited all my life for this one moment, I'm not waiting anymore. Listen to my heart as it cries for all the years that it was lonely. Listen to my heart as it smiles to know that now, after so long, I can finally sing my song, and you're here and you're listening, you're listening. Listen to my voice, and it will tell you everything, all about the life that's just about to start. For if you want to know how much I love you, listen to my heart, listen to my heart, listen to my heart. Thank you.
And the crowd goes crazy. Oh, Sandra. You know, we are listening and we are searching and we are finding. And if you're thinking, I want more, encore, Sandra and somebody special to her are giving a concert next month for a cause that they really care about. We're going to put the information in our website. And it's a little surprise about that. When Sandra spoke at TLC, she said with a twinkle in her eye, you know, that often she would get asked if she had any chemistry with any of the Phantoms. And she would get this little smile on her face. And she said, yes, that there was one, and they did kind of, you know, hit it off on stage and off stage. And she ended up marrying him. And here he is, Ron Bomer. And then they sing Music of the Night together. And so are you going to be doing something like that in that concert next month, Sandra?
Yes, we will definitely be doing a lot of the favorites from Phantom. It's always a pleasure when I get to sing opposite my favorite leading man, my husband. So, yes, we definitely will be.
Well, thank you so much for gracing us with your someday story. And you are right that our mission statement is head and heart, right? It's tangible and it is about achieving something, and it is always doing it in alignment with our values and what matters most. So just thank you so much for gracing us with your grace. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, Sam.
You bet. And now we get to segue into three other people who, like Sandra, got crystal clear about something that was important to them and helped facilitate that happening. So I'd like to introduce first Sylvia Henderson. And Sylvia is the founder and CEO of Mind Team Solutions. And Sylvia, let's hear your 3-minute clarity story, please.
All right, thank you. I have to follow this.
Yeah.
So I'll get right to it. So something that I was crystal clear about in my life, when I was a teen, I was told that I was good at teaching people how to do things. And I enjoyed helping people learn. And remember the word learn, because that's important. And so I realized that my passion and my mission in life was to help people realize their aha moments so that they could grow and serve in their lives. And that's where the learn comes from. And so my path throughout my life has been corporate trainer and manager, volunteer as a Girl Scout educator, professional speaker, author, coach. Those are my path in life so far. And my challenge a few years ago was that I wanted to make a bigger impact for more people than I could do one-on-one or as a solo entrepreneur. But I was stuck on the immensity of what I wanted. I mean, I followed successful people, Sam including, and for years I said to myself, someday I'm going to figure it out and I'm going to make a big move to make a difference in companies to help their people be productive and to help organizations be profitable. So that was my big audacious goal. And I've learned over the years that, when we put our intentions and our dreams on paper and we keep them visible 24/7, things get done. So beyond my vision board, which is on my wall, that's putting things on paper. But beyond that, I mapped out procedures because I'm kind of a systems process person. So I mapped out procedures and I created systems that moved my some days into focused, purposeful, intentional actions along with accountability partners. And over about a year and a half, I followed those procedures for myself that I take my clients through. And I found a wonderful business partner. We created a leadership and development firm that's been 3 years now in operation, and we're turning dreams into dollars and concepts into cash for leaders in organizations all across the U.S. And so how I turn my some days into today is really creating systems, creating processes, and following them to actions. And that's how I keep going. I mean, I map out my systems and I use the same process for writing books that I've written. And that's kind of my success story, Sam, and everybody.
Thank you, Sylvia. It's you are in alignment with the number one lesson from Maui Writers Conference after 17 years of Mitch Albom and Nicholas Sparks and Frank McCourt and so forth. The only thing they agreed on was ink it when you think it. So it's like ink it when you think it on one page. And then do you post that, Sylvia, so it stays
Oh yeah,
in mind?
my camera's stationary, but I mean, I literally every decision I make, every phone call I take, I look at that one-page plan, I call it, and that has everything that I'm focused on that one page, and it's right there next to me.
Wonderful. Thank you for joining us and for contributing your clarity story. And now we get to introduce Al Roll. And Al is the founder and CEO of the Neuro Fitness Center. And I can't wait to hear how you turned a someday into today, Al.
Thank you, Sam. Thank you very much for a great session and for asking me to share my story. Well, I'm an ex-CEO who opened a consultancy. And then when I did that, I only really had clarity on three things. First, I wanted to do something I was really good at. Second, I wanted to do something that could really make a difference. And third, I really only wanted to work with people I enjoyed working with. When I was trying to struggle with the first question, what am I good at? I really landed on the fact that I'm really good at developing talent, and I'm really good at inspiring high performance teams. Why? Because I really believed that a winning mindset was more important than just talent alone. So for nearly 15 years, I advised senior clients at major organizations and coached them and trained them on performance coaching and helping them through their journey. But there's another side of the story. I wasn't perfect, far from it. Despite all my professional success, I was living in a life of self-doubt and low self-esteem. Yeah, I was stuck. I was living in a world where regret over the past and fear of the future was stressing me out every single day. Then two things happened. The first thing that happened is I discovered neuroscience, and voila, it wasn't me, it was my brain. See, regret over the past feeds our brain maps that say, we're not good enough. It'll keep us from growing. We don't want to make the same mistakes over and over. We don't want to feel bad again. And that regret is like a ball and chain around us. Second, fear of the future is your brain telling you, don't take chances, don't reach out, don't challenge yourself. You know why? Because you don't want to get hurt again. When our brains lack clarity, understanding what they need to do, they make up stories. I call these stories the drama monster. And the drama monster visited me pretty much every day. He was haunting me like nightmares. And when I really realized that the drama monster was creating and pulling me down, I needed to break out. And then the second thing happened. I read Sam's inspiring yet very practical book. It was the kick in the pants that I needed. So I went and I got certified in brain-based coaching and applied neuroscience and brain health. And then I opened, as Sam said, I founded the Neuro Fitness Center, where people can go and lean in and do some brain lifting to become more productive, more professionally successful, and happier. Now, COVID hasn't helped with my new business venture, but I'm still committed to the journey. So my wish, as I'll sum up my story for all of you here today and listening on this call or watching the recording, is that you can replace your regret of the past with learning. You can replace your fear of the future with hope. And you can replace the pressures and stress of today with a dream and a plan. Thanks very much, Sam.
You're welcome, Al. I'm so glad. I just feel like we have pearls on a necklace here with everyone's someday to today story. Thank you. So, and I'm so happy to introduce Carol Campbell. Carol is a visionary thought leader. She's really a rising tide, raising all involved convener who is the founder of Women in Consumer Tech. So, Carol, let's hear your story, please.
Well, that's a tough act to follow. And I just want to say, first of all, how privileged I feel. I think Deborah and I are the only ones here that are willing to confess to our tissues. Listening to Sandra Joseph. I had an opportunity to see Sandra on Broadway. Thank you very much in Phantom, and you were amazing. And it was an amazing experience. And the fact that you reference your voice is really important to me. So, I've been in my industry, consumer technology, for decades. And in 2009, I just come off kind of a short run of teaching a course called How to Sell to Women, meaning the type of content and equipment and experiences that our industry sells is into the home. And so my punchline was, it's her house. So guess what? You need to sell to her. And that really just kind of drove my vision that I wanted to empower, encourage, and engage the women in our industry to understand how valuable their role was. And I was very, very blessed with the fact that I had an amazing male boss who said to me, if you don't do this, who will? And I took that to heart. But I had also come from an experience that I don't think there's any coincidence to this, but in hindsight, as a magazine person, I launched USA Today. I went to various sundry famous magazines, including Working Woman magazine, and I had an amazing mentor as a publisher boss. She taught me many things, some of which are not printable, but she taught me to really internalize your personal power. And, we would be on sales calls and she would say, let me just venture the notion. I love that phrase, by the way, which is a great way to get away with, I'm calling you on your, So, let me just venture the notion. I thought it was an extremely ladylike and polite way to say, you're on the spot, bud. So that's really what led me to create Women in Consumer Technologies, to create a community of women in my industry. But I think the thing that I'm the most proud of, being a curator of content, Sam, I honestly don't remember who was the first person that told us that we should talk, and we did. And we created this amazing series in New York called our Industry Forums for Women in CT. Sam had been a centerpiece of them all. 2 years ago with her new book at our CEDIA luncheon that we sat 350 men and women. She was our keynote speaker on said topic. And that topic has always spoken to me because the thing that I'm really, really excited about, 2 years ago in October, we created an event called Your Voice Matters. And that mantra had been with me for so long in the whole context of women in consumer technology and trying to get beyond, yes, it's important that we have celebrations and that we honor women of our industry who have amazing accomplishments. I mean, amazing. But we wanted to really be more of a driver as it turned to education and empowerment and personalization of that personal power. So we created a day called Your Voice Matters in Washington, D.C. It was at the United States Capitol. It was amazing. We represented women in entertainment, women in cable and telecommunications, and women of Avixa. And we all joined together and created this day that was about the internal voice that speaks to you from your gut, that voice that is then he said, she said, and we step out into the workplace, but also the political voice that you have, the legislation that you can impact. And a number amount of women who are now running for office was really a great presentation. Economics. NPD Group, who we adore, created a special personalized content presentation of all of the impact that women have on buying power. And probably most importantly, media, popular culture. What do we look like when we are represented on television and in movies? And Gina Davis Foundation was created.
Thank you for wrapping it up in 30 seconds, please.
Yeah, and I just want to say that her representative, her executive director, talked about what we look like and what we're saying in popular culture. So that's my vision and my aha moment of what it means to be a leader in your neighborhood, in your community, in your industry, and how you can give back. Thank you, Sam.
Thank you. I love what you said because it segues right into, would everyone pick up your phone right now, if you would please, and bring up your calendar? And here's why. Tony Robbins said, if you've made a decision and you haven't taken action, you haven't made a decision. And let's put two things on the calendar. One is what is, Carol, Al, Sandra, Sylvia, they all thought big. They all thought, okay, what do I care about? What would put the light on in my eyes? What would give meaning and purpose to my day? What would I look forward to? And they put it on the calendar. This book wouldn't have happened if my year by the water, if I hadn't said, I'm going to give everything away and I'm going to take off on October 1st. If I just said someday I'm going to go on my year by the water, it never would have happened. So right now, please put a date on your calendar. Maybe you're going to reach out to a friend to talk about an idea that you have. Maybe you're going to sign up for that program that Sandra's doing next month and just be inspired by that full concert with her and Ron. Maybe you're going to, talk with Al about starting your own business, or maybe you're going to find out more about women in consumer tech. And if they've got a Voice That Matters program coming up this year, what's a date on the calendar? Because if it's not on the calendar, it's not getting done. If it's not on the calendar, it's not getting done. So please put a date on the calendar right now of something that gives you that ikigai goal to look forward to, that gives meaning and purpose to your days. And you might want to put March 23rd on your calendar. And here's why. It's that I decided, what do I want to do? I want to have twice a month clarity calls, the second and the fourth Tuesday of every month at 7 p.m. Eastern. This is no hidden agenda and there is no bait and switch. I promise you, I am not going to start doing sales. I'm not going to start trying to funnel you into an e-program. I promise the shoe is not going to drop on this. This is my version of CBS Sunday Morning, which is my favorite TV program, because every single time I watch it, I am uplifted. I see man or woman's humanity to man. I see people, smart, talented people who are adding value in the world, who are contributing. Pablo Picasso said, the purpose of life is to find our gifts. The meaning is to give them away. So March 23rd, Dr. Ivan Meisner, the founder of BNI, the largest networking organization. It has more than 10,000 chapters in the world. He is going to be our guest. And now guess what? Every time we're going to have 3 people with 3-minute stories on how they have or they are turning a someday into a today. If you want to be one of our guests, just say so in our Facebook group, because every second Tuesday, fourth Tuesday of the month, 7 p.m. Eastern, 40 minutes. We're going to have like 12 minutes of an idea of the session, 12 minutes of a guest star, and 12 minutes of 3 people with their 3-minute clarity stories. And my name is Sam Horn. And my clarity is that Katharine Graham of the Washington Post was right. She said to do what you love and feel that it matters. How could anything be more fun? The only thing that is more fun is to do what we love and feel that it matters and get to do it with people we enjoy and respect. That's what I'm doing. That's what I hope you're doing. And I hope you'll be part of our rising tide, raising all involved Clarity Calls family. Thank you so much for joining us. And you're welcome to put comments in chat. And Kendra, Ray, thank you, Kendra, who is our wizard on the dashboard, who makes all the tech happen. She's going to be sending out a video to you free. Now, by the way, to honor the copyright for Sandra, please keep that video just to yourself and within our Facebook community. We cannot put it up on YouTube. We cannot, show it at a staff meeting, because we need to honor the copyright for the music that she sang tonight. However, you can certainly watch it again with a family member, and or watch this, if you think, okay, at the end of that, I'm going to have my mission statement and I'm going to have my North Star question. So once again, thank you so much. Look forward to seeing you on March 23rd.